Thursday night, 7 o'clock to 7:30. We're on the air here on YouTube, Davenport's YouTube channel. And we are here joined by the head football coach, Sparky McEwen, tonight. Davenport coming off a most impressive win Saturday up in the Upper Peninsula, up in Houghton, shutting out Michigan Tech on their homecoming, 28-0. Just an all-around impressive defensive performance. Davenport improves to 4-0 overall and 1-0 in conference play. They're the only GLIAC team right now in football that is undefeated. Hi, everyone. I'm Rick Berkey. The coach McEwen is here. And we've also got a couple special player guests joining us a little bit later on in the show. Trent Allen and Khalif Jenkins will join us to talk about their time here at Davenport. But, Coach, we're going to get into the stats here a little bit and the numbers, but let's get an overall assessment of what you saw on Saturday up in Houghton.
Proud of the guys. They went up and, we played a very, very tough team in Michigan Tech. And when you go up to an environment like that that's hostile with, the alumni back and it's their homecoming, you have a tall order in front of you. And I thought that our athletes handled the trip, because that's a tough trip. I thought they handled the trip extremely mature. We knew it was going to be uncomfortable, and we prepared for that. And the way they handled it, I couldn't be more proud of those guys.
I thought it was the best defensive performance, start to finish, that we've seen in your years at Davenport. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Anytime you play against a team that's well coached, a group of guys that are extremely disciplined, a good scheme on defense and offense, you got to say that you got to give it up to your guys. Our guys came in. Our guys, took the game plan that we had, and they made a major decision that they were going to stay committed, and understand the process and stay disciplined in the moment, and it worked out.
Let's go over some of these juicy stats from Saturday's win. First downs, Davenport 22, Michigan Tech 8. Yards rushing, Davenport 206, Michigan Tech 41. Passing yards, Davenport 150 to 76. Total offense, Davenport 356 to 117, a 3-1 edge in total offense, and an even almost the biggest bulge in time of possession. 41 minutes, over 41 minutes Davenport possession time to under 19 for the Huskies. Just domination by your defense. And you told me after the game, you and Coach Devin Russell said you're going to adjust some things offensively because of the way your defense was playing.
True. And we felt like when you have a defense that can get stops, that's huge. I felt like the Huskies never got any momentum going. And in a game of, that magnitude of that much energy, you got to have some ability to get some momentum. We never gave them momentum, and we never allowed that crowd to get into the game. And that was important because it was a lot of fans, a lot of alumni there, student body there. And our players really handled it all well, and they played a complete 4 quarters.
And your offense was very efficient. I think that's the word that jumps out at me.
Well, when you rush the ball for more than 200 yards at the collegiate level, that's really controlling the the clock. That's really taking care of the football. We didn't have any turnovers, and that was important. I talked to you before we went up, and I said, we cannot turn the football over. If we do, they're going to make us pay. So we were able to take care of the ball, and I really felt like going in, we were truly worried about their offensive scheme. They're doing a very solid job of it, but we just seem to not allow them to get comfortable in some of the stuff that they like to do, and I think that played a major role with the defensive front and our linebackers, because we really never had to have extra hats, getting after their QB. We were able to get that done with our front 3 and 4.
And special teams once again stepped up big. Michael Wilson returns a punt, 72 yards for a touchdown. Very interesting. He's the third player for Davenport to return a punt for a touchdown. Meach had one last week. And, of course, Nick Pulley ran one back on a blocked punt. You actually had a fourth player that returned one that was wiped out by a penalty.
Yeah, our guys understand that. For the first time, I can honestly tell you that I feel comfortable with some of the depth that we've developed here. And when one guy goes down, we put the next guy up, and the next guy takes on that opportunity. And all those guys made good on their opportunities. And it's significant because you need those type of big plays in order to be successful when you're going against a really good, football team. We all need that shot in the arm. And each time we've gotten those returns or those blocks, it's been huge. And Coach Walker, man, I just can't say enough about Coach Walker and the job, that he does for me, and then taking on the special teams and just, making it be one of the better special teams in the country.
Second shutout in program history, by the way, the first since 2016. Our first year playing games, we had one before you joined us. Second game of the year up at Kentucky Christian. We won that. That's the only other time we had a shutout with this one. Back to the offense, though. Myron Harris, third consecutive game of over 100 yards. He had 26 carries for 112 on the ground.
Our backs are playing well, and even Harden. If you take a look at Harden's average per carry, he's been a nice third wheel for us. But that three-headed monster we have there, and more particularly, it's Khalif and Myron. They're doing a heck of a job, and what they don't get enough credit for is their blocking in the passing game and the tremendous feet that they have. These guys get in the hole, and our linemen are doing a great job. But there's sometimes in there where there's no place to go. And you'll see these guys bounce it. And once they get into the open field, you got Khalif, the beef. He'll tell you how much he weighs. I'm not going to tell you. But you got Myron. Myron's right around 215 pounds. And that's a lot of man coming at you at 215. And then, obviously, the big fellas bringing a little more than 215 at you.
Panthers are ranked today number 16 in the nation by the American Football Coaches Association, 15th by D2 Football. How much does the rankings mean to you, your staff, and your players?
Well, we're called Team 6. This is our 6th year, playing football, and to know that we get to get into the rankings with most of those teams, they're blue bloods. Those have been guys that traditionally have been in the top 25, and to see Davenport in there, we've earned it, to get there. And you look at a team like Saginaw right now. Saginaw's played some really tough teams, and we beat Truman last year, and it was important for us because as we went through our season, that win catapulted us into the tournament, it just grew and grew. And, Saginaw lost to them this year, and I told everyone last year, Truman is really, really good. And they just now, it looks like, cracked the top 25, and they got a big matchup against Indianapolis. So getting in there, it matters, especially when you're a program that's playing significant, meaningful games. And that's what we do now. We're playing a lot of meaningful football games.
And back, one other final thing to the defense. Alaric Wooten intercepted a pass for you again. 7th interception for the club this year. But what's interesting, we mentioned it last week, 7 different players have intercepted a pass for your defense.
Just like the punt returns. We've had 4 guys, getting the end zone from punt returns. One that was being called back. But defensively, when you get 7 student athletes picking the ball off, that just tells you that you got some guys in the right place at the right time. You got good athletes. And you're getting good pressure up front, So it all has to work hand in hand. And seeing those balls be, thrown in the air and get picked off, I love hearing that because a lot of times DBs, they're a little suspect with their hands. Our guys are getting it, and they know what to do with it.
Davenport home this Saturday. Homecoming, 2 o'clock. Note that game time, 2 o'clock Saturday. The only time we don't play at 12 noon this Saturday at 2 o'clock against Northern Michigan, hoping to extend that perfect start to the year. Sparky, go get some of this great Uccello's food.
We'll
do that, and we will take a break. We're going to come back and visit with Trent Allen, offensive lineman, a sophomore from Florida. Stay with us on the DU Coaches Show. Right there, bud. And we continue the Davenport Coaches Show live from Uccello to Caledonia. Stop out here anytime. Tuesday nights are great, but any night is great. We're looking up here seen about 15 different screens. We see the baseball playoffs going. We've got replays of football games, all kinds of action here. And, of course, great food, great service. Uccello's at Caledonia, or any Uccello's, does a great job for you. We're continuing now visiting our first player guest of the night, Trent Allen, an offensive lineman from Windermere, Florida, 6'3", 290-pound, just a sophomore, just a growing boy, part of this big offensive line. And Trent, one of the things we talked about the stats, but one of the beauties there that we didn't talk about, you and your brothers on the offensive line did not allow a single sack.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give a big shout out to our O-line. We have a lot of returners from last year, and we've just really gelled well. And it's been really fun playing with them. So.
Well, Trent was honorable mention all-conference, all-GLIAC as a true freshman. One of only 2 players that were true freshmen to get that honor, so that had to mean a lot to you. And, we hear often about the offensive line needs to work as a unit. How do you work on that in practice to make that, all the guys come together as one?
Yeah, so one big thing we focus on is our communication. Depending on, the fronts or, the different play styles that we're doing for the game, we all have to communicate and be on the same page. And, sometimes, in our Michigan Tech game, it takes communication, without even using our words, just knowing one another and just knowing our assignments and responsibilities is how we do that.
It's something I don't think the average fan appreciates, Trent, is that sometimes when an offensive lineman gets injured, somebody has to shift, or maybe more than one person has to shift to a different position. And that's not as easy as it sounds, going from guard to tackle or center to guard. Tell us about making that adjustment. What's involved in that?
Yeah, so, it's difficult, but it's something that, we have a lot of guys on our team that they can do that. It's not the easiest, but it can be done, and it's something that we pride ourselves on.
From Florida, we had you here last year, I know, at Bishop Moore High School, a very strong football program there under Coach Matt Hedrick. Tell us about what Coach Hedrick or any other coaches that you had before you came to Davenport, how they influenced you and helped you along the way.
Yeah, I mean, my high school coaches, they set my foundation for what I am now. And so just teach me, just the basics of football and just how to carry myself and, the work ethic and what I need to do on the field to be great.
With family and friends that far from home, you don't get that daily contact or even weekly contact sometimes. Tell us how you deal with that, being that far away from the people that are most important in your life.
Yeah, well, I'm very thankful that they get to come up here, usually for every home game.
They make it.
They make the trip, yeah. So wow. It's really awesome having them up watching me.
Well, you should take them out to dinner after the game. If they come all the way from Florida to watch you play, you should take them out.
Oh, for sure.
All right, what do you do, Trent, when you're not playing football or not going to school? You're a business management major, but what do you do for your own personal enjoyment?
So we haven't really had much free time since the season started, but during the summer, me and my roommates would go out and fish a lot and just do stuff around the Grand Rapids area.
Tell us where your favorite fishing hole is here in West Michigan.
Up in Rockford.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite spot.
All right, business management major. Tell us what you're thinking about doing whenever your Davenport and playing days are done. What would you like to do with that business management degree?
Definitely going to the management field. I'm not really too sure on the specifics yet. I still got 2 years of playing eligibility after this season, so yeah, I'm not really too sure.
All right, give us your assessment of this team. Certainly you couldn't be any better in the win-loss column, but there's always room for improvement.
For sure.
Give us your assessment of where this team is right now.
Right now, we are definitely on the right track. I think we are ahead of where we were last year, and we just got to continue to build on the foundation that we laid down.
I'm going to say hi to your folks. Ann and Mark are probably watching back in Florida right now. That's Ann and Mark Allen back in Windermere. Yeah. Trent Allen, thanks for joining us, bud. I know that they just brought your food over there at Uccello, so you better get over there and chow down before the beef gets at it, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Trent Allen. We'll take a break, come back with Khalif Jenkins. Stay with us on the Davenport Coaches Show. Nice job, bud. Make sure your folks get that link to watch it later. They can watch it later. Oh, are they? Great. Get that mic as close to the ear. There you go. We roll on the Davenport Coaches Show live from Uccello's in Caledonia. Enjoyed visiting with Trent Allen, offensive lineman. Now we're going to get one of the guys who benefits from that blocking of Trent Allen, as well as the other offensive lineman, Khalif Jenkins. We call him Khalif the Beef because he just plows through the offensive line, and sometimes the fun doesn't start with this young man until he gets hit. But Khalif, let's talk a little bit about that offensive line and what they mean to you and Myron and Jair and everybody else that carries the ball for Davenport.
Oh, man, it's amazing. We really appreciate how much work they put in. It's a big difference.
Khalif, I want to ask you the same thing. Where do you assess this team right now? At this time last year, you were also 4-0. This is a different kind of team. Tell us what is different or maybe what's similar from last year's team at this point of the season.
Last year, we got a little bit distracted last year, but that's the only difference for real. But this year, we got to stay on top of our game and continue to dominate.
You know, we talked about that offensive possession time that was so drastic in that game, 41 minutes to 18 minutes in favor of the Panthers. And you could just see that with the linemen and you and also Myron carrying the football, that you guys just wanted to keep churning it out, didn't you, as the game went on?
Another big shout out to the O-line. Did a great job blocking. We had to put the game away.
Khalif, you were second team all GLIAC last year. Tell us what you did in the off season specifically to try to get better for this year.
I had to sacrifice going home. I had to stay here over the summer and continue to get better speed-wise, feet training, to get a lot better overall, blocking, more intelligent with the play calling. So I just had to stay here over the summer.
Khalif's from the east side, River Rouge High School, outstanding program over there, and your family and friends, but they get over to see you play here on Saturdays. I know that. I've seen the hats. It says the Beef.
Yep, that's my dad. He's coming to support me. That's my number one fan. I love him to death.
That's fantastic. All right, what do you still have to get better at, Khalif, individually as a running back?
Say pass pro. It could be tricky sometimes. Pass protection. It could be tricky sometimes. I just got to stay on top of it. Go through my reads and my progressions. Let's
talk a little specifically more about that, Khalif, as far as the pass protection. What type of things do you have to look for? Because when they call the play, what the defense shows you can change some things. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for when you know it's a pass coming up and you're in pass protect?
So I'm looking at my keys. I'm looking at who's blitzing, who's looking like they're getting ready to blitz. I'm looking at the fronts. Sometimes the corner can be tricky, so I'm just staying on top of everybody that looks like they're going to blitz.
Khalif, let's go back and outside of your family, look back to your high school days. Was there a special coach or a special teacher who helped you along the way and inspired you, challenged you, either as a player or as a person?
I would say most definitely Coach Parker. Coach Parker was the one I always wanted to make happy because he was always hard on me.
That's Coach Corey Parker, mm-hmm. and he stayed on you, and now you know why, right?
Yep.
If he hadn't been hard on you, you wouldn't probably be the player and the person you are today.
Yes, sir.
Your sport management major. Let's look down the road and what maybe you'd like to be doing as a dream job. Let's say 15 years down the road, have nothing to do with sports. You know you're a sport management major. What would you like to maybe be doing if you were not involved in anything with to do with sports?
Business.
Okay.
Definitely want to do something with business. I don't know what I want to do yet in business, but I want to do something.
Would you like to have your own business someday?
Yes.
Would you like to have it on the west side, or would you like to go back home to River Rouge?
Anywhere the money good at.
That's an honest answer. Absolutely here. All right, you made that long trip. Let's tell the folks who haven't made the trip up to the UP what are some of the challenges when you go that far away from home. including crossing the bridge?
Oh man, it was a long trip. It get uncomfortable sometimes when you on a bus, but
How do you pass the time? Because there's only so much music you can listen to.
yeah, I know. But I love Rod Wave, so Rod Wave really got me through the trip. He's a good artist.
All right, that's your favorite. That's your number one player, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Well, all right. What's the team goals for this year? Do you think, as of right now, or is it 1 week at a time?
1 week at a time. We're not looking further or down ahead. We just going day by day, practice by practice, game by game.
Khalif Jenkins, number 21 on your Panther program, and great job. He's off to another great start this year. We look for more touchdowns. He had 2 on Saturday. And again, if you watch him, if you come out to a Davenport game, once he goes into the center of the line, especially in a goal-to-go situation, keep your eyes on him and keep your eyes on the pile, because the fun doesn't start until he gets hit. That's when the fun really starts. Thanks, Khalif. Go and enjoy your dinner.
Thank you so much.
Khalif Jenkins. We'll come back one more time with Sparky McEwen to talk about next week's opponent this Saturday, homecoming. Davenport in Northern Michigan at the Farm. He did a good job. And our final segment of the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia, Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. You can always watch us on the DU YouTube channel. And again, Davenport home this Saturday, homecoming, 2 o'clock game time. Note that game time change. We play 12 noon home games except on homecoming day, and that's when we play at 2 o'clock at Davenport. So get out there, cheer on this undefeated team, 4-0 on the season, ranked 15th and 16th in 2 of the top polls in the nation right now, and hoping to move on up when Northern Michigan comes to town. We'll talk a little bit about that game right now. Northern, under first-year coach Shane Richardson, again, making some adjustments, starting out with a new program, 0-5 on the year. But as you know better than anybody, first-year coaches have to sometimes start from scratch when you're building a program.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Shane. He's a veteran in the business, and he took this job, and he knew that going in, he was going to have to put his footprint, his fingerprint actually on this team, and it takes time. It takes time, and the one thing about him when you watch film, his boys play hard. That's a positive. He's got those guys playing with discipline. They're the least amount of penalized team, in the conference, and we're the second worst penalized team in the conference, and sometimes that can come back and bite you and give another team momentum. So from them, and their passion to play and playing with discipline, we know it's going to be a fight. Anytime you come down here in a GLIAC, it's a GLIAC team. The trip we made up to Michigan Tech, on their homecoming, our boys play really well. Northern Michigan can do the same thing. They can come down here and really capture lightning in a bottle and play well. And if we don't take care of our business, we could get upset.
Last year, a game up in Marquette was certainly a key game in your entire season last year. I remember Brandon Gilo kicks a 38-yard field goal as the clock hits 0 to get into overtime. Then you get an interception after you score to clinch it, and that was one. Again, you had a number of key games, but that was one of them last year, without doubt. It was,
and every year that we've played Northern, and this, it's always been a one-score game. I can't remember when it's been more than a one-score game. So they had a tough one against the national champs. The national champs had a couple weeks off, and and then that team was coming off a loss, which they hadn't lost in a couple of years, I think. So Tony had those boys fired up and ready to go, and it just so happened that it was homecoming for them, and Northern just happened to be the team on the clock, for them. So I expect Northern to come in here and be spoilers on our homecoming, and our boys are going to have to be at their best.
One of the guys on the Northern team that we saw more than we wanted to last year up in Marquette, running back Tyquan Cox. And you raved about him last year, and I'm guessing that he hasn't gotten any worse. He's already got 363 yards on the ground, 4 yards a carry.
Well, once again, it's a team that has athletes. They lost a number of guys in the portal, guys that had actually gone on to play Division I football, and they lost a tackle that went to the NFL. They've got talent there, so Coach is going to retool it, though, and get his own in there, and that's just part of bringing in a new guy. So I expect them to come out, with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and looking to upset us.
All right, so homecoming game, again, it's interesting in our 7th year. Homecoming starting to mean something because now you've got folks who have been in your time here graduated, and they are coming back to watch your football team as the crowds have been supportive at home.
That's pretty cool. We've had a nice, group of fan base here at home, and now we get some of those alumni coming back, the Be First group, that started this thing, and, seeing our guys play at a high level and seeing our program where it is. It's pretty cool for the university. It's one of those deals where football, if you're playing well, it can bring a lot of recognition to your university. And, when you're in the polls and you're getting that type of recognition, that bodes well for everybody at the university.
Well, let's keep it rolling, Coach. 4-0 overall, 1-0. Let's keep that 0 on the right side and come back and talk about it again next week.
Look forward to being here.
That'll wrap up tonight's edition of the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's here in Caledonia. So for Coach Sparky McEwen and our special player guests today, Trent Allen and Khalif Jenkins, Rick Berker saying thanks for joining us, and go Panthers.